Okay, you're like, hi there, Tha, hi there, another good duck. Hi there, Retrotivity, I haven't seen you in a while. Hi, and I'm Mark, hi, welcome, hi, but simple, hi, Gemma, hi. Give me all a second, cause I'm making coffee, so yeah, I'm gonna need a second. Oh, okay, music goes hard. Your favorite part? Oh, I see. Your favorite part of the live stream is the one where I'm not actually there and you're just listening to music. I see how it is, Star. I see how it is. Oh, no, I need to switch to live chat, don't I? Okay, there we go. Has the intro ever gone this long? Oh, it's gone even longer on plenty of occasions. Take out a job for a second. Alright, Activity, alright. Oh, your favorite part of the song. Oh, yeah, excuse me. Yeah, now explain yourself. The water's almost done. Damn it, I've added almost a liter of. That's why it's taking such a long time to boil. A nice tip for all of you workaholics out there, add in a bit of sugar to your coffee. That will make you drink it quicker, and that way the coffee will just hit better. Because you won't be actually drinking coffee to be productive, you'll be drinking coffee passively and thus being productive. That's for all of you workaholics out there. just my own little 5 cents, you know. Almost finished, just one more second. It's up, there it is. I wish I could be a girl, and that way I could be a good friend. With a loaded shotgun, ready to fire me a hot one. It went bang, 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 straight through my heart. Testing, things just got more into. Okay, I'm back. Hi there, everyone. Hi, how you all doing? Hi there. Hi. At this point, I just synthesized pure caffeine with alchemy. That's a maybe. Oh, I'm not in voice chat. Hi, they made it. Hi. Making a comment the slice of pie charity side. It's broken! Okay, give me, it's broken. I know, it's broken. Trust me, I'm working on it. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, it has a lot. But here's the thing. Look at this. See? Welcome to Nginx. Nginx is set up, okay? The website is practically finished. Trust me, just a little bit more and it's gonna be beautiful. It's on private spreadsheet. For now. Temporarily, inadequate duck. Temporarily. Don't worry. It's going to be better soon. Pretty sure make it is on sale. I mean, it depends on what kind of sponsor would like to reach out to me, I guess. There's a discount for charities. All charities that want to sponsor my videos have a discount. That's a public announcement. No. I'm expensive. Tefta! Oh, I almost got a heart attack. Jeez, hi the Tefta. You absolutely already have so many. Under open muscle? Well, but I haven't made the open muscle video, so at this point, I don't deserve a sponsorship, yes. I bought a server. I'm happy with it. You can see on stream. Welcome to Nginx. I finally took me. I don't want to. Okay, so I am a workaholic. That is true. I do nothing else in my day. So it's actually remarkable how long it takes me to finish certain things. It is just remarkable, in my opinion, that it took me half a year to buy a server. It's incredible, but this time I bought a good one, which means I will be able to not only use it for the slice of pie, but also side project. It's gonna be fun. And also, speaking of other things, yeah, you just reminded me, Devta. I'll be honest, I feel bad because I genuinely forgot. Open muscle video, which I've just been for. I'm just gonna change it. It's not gonna be open source video. It's gonna be open muscle. Muscle, because after scripting it, I realized more and more that it was just gonna be heavily focused on open muscle. And make it reducing a whole bag of instant coffee into a single grain size of sugar. No, I'm not drinking. Well, I am slowly going back into my caffeinated self. It feels good. Tefta, how have things been going for you? Oh, oh, can you show? Oh, hell yeah. Oh. That's the thing is, that's I'm a generalist, so it's really annoying. I always mention how I'm great with a lot of stuff, but I'm never the right person to ask for any kind of advice. Like, for anything specific, I'm never the right kind of person to ask. If you want chemistry, ask Flame, not me. If you want mathematics, ask Reblax, not me. Physics, Remco, not me. I'm never the best person. Blender might be the only thing where I can actually be useful with something. So I think I'll appreciate here. That's good, can relate, certainly. I mean, ESP 32, that's tiny. That is so tiny. I mean, you did infect me with the ESP32 love for them, because I've always been a raspberry guy myself, and I just have 3 or 5 different ESP32s just in my closet somewhere. Make it. Why are you streaming so early? That depends. It's actually a late live stream for Americans. To carry on, Teta. I sorry. I'm just trying to. I know, but it always. I mean, I know that you understand, because, to be fair, you are probably the person that has been joining on streams the longest, over a year and a half. So I get that if anyone's gonna understand, it will be you. But still, it feels so awful when I interrupt people. Just really, it feels bad. Okay, that's good then. Oh, that's good. That's always good. No, I just say stupid stuff on stream. At this point, this is my charm. Hey. Oh, I'm jealous. I'm okay. Oh, that one. Okay. Oh, I absolutely get it. Whenever I invite Flame, it's just great when Flame just gives like a presentation or something. I can sit back. It's always nice. Hey, make it. I just spent my life savings plus future inheritance on a new setup. I was wondering if you could review it. You see, Stetsus, I am hoping it's hyperbole. I would gladly review it, but please let it be hyperbole. Do send. I'm assuming you. Okay. Make it. Would you rather be home in a terrible neighborhood in jail for a terrible crime? So either bad neighborhood. I would rather have needed uptake. I'll be honest. I am bad at picking these kinds of. Oh, cinematic. Okay, I'm downloading. It's a pretty big one as well. All right. Oh, I like the floor. I like the floor a lot. I already, yeah. Oh my goodness, that's so detailed, actually. Oh. Oh yeah, that I can see that effect now. Damn. Wow. Okay. That's wow. I do that. That's really impressive. All of these pixels. I only noticed it right here when the artifacts are appearing from, which is the actual. That's and right yeah, right here you can see the pixels. That is really detailed. I do have to say. It is really good. It really is. There are okay. If I may give some recommendations, because they are all really tiny. For this one, I would recommend in the background. Here's the thing: how much more rendering time are you planning to spend on it? Because all of these things will be really easy to add, but they will add to the render time a lot. Okay. Oh, then I don't think it's going to be entire, but it might be a day. Because right here in the background, I would recommend extending. First of all, the ground. Is that a texture or is it added with geometry nodes? Or added objects? Okay, so in this case, I think it should be a texture then. Because in that case, I would extend it a bit further back. And then just add some trees to the kind of, if you want, I can just send you, I have models of trees because I mean, of course I do. I'm a hoarder of models. You can never have too many. That's why you always need to just save absolutely all of them. So I can send you some. And then another thing, in this case, this is really impressive. It's just lacking a bit of samples right here. Like you can see with the artifacts right here with the blur. This is if I'm not mistaken, denoising on cycles. Did you do it? Yeah, if I'm not. Yeah, this is denoising on cycles when cycles is struggling with rendering. You can also see it on the screen in the background, which is like flickering a lot. Honestly, I wish I had a nice fix for it, but the best fix for it is always to just. Oh, actually, there are two fixes. Either add more light. Adding more light usually also helps. Because when it's really bright, then these artifacts, denoising just works better. So either making everything brighter or adding more samples. I do have to say that's like what I would do for a video, and I do it professionally. Oh, there's one more thing maybe actually where I might help you with, because here's the thing. Right here you want a smooth transition, right? If you press on an object, because it's not quite smooth, it's not perfectly aligned. And this is actually a really nice thing, because if you want to do that kind of transition, then the way I would recommend doing it is if you have an object like this cube right here, then you want like a transition. I'm going to do it on an angle specifically because I want it to be as annoying as possible, like as awkward. So you have a cube like this with emission, let's see, 1, and you want the camera to zoom in, and then at this point, like transition to another image. What you can do is you can give it the image texture of the image of choice, like, hold on, I need to find some kind of image to add here. Would be a. I have so many temporary folders. All of them are called temporary. Every single one of that. I am just great with organizing on my C folder. It's all called temporary. Okay. It's not this one. I mean, temporary solution to a permanent problem. That is just what I call them, because that's what they are. It's one of them is literally called temporary solution to a permanent problem. Okay, there we go. Copy as path. Yeah, I know. I know it is going to be annoying, however, but what I would recommend is if you have like the frame on which you want to transition, if you press tab, unwrap, you do have project from view, which just does this. And oh, it's already, never mind, it might have not been project from view bounce. Oh, damn it. Okay, it was one. Give me a second. Q projection? No. I could have sworn it was project from view. Or did they change that? I think I'm... Oh, yeah, because... Okay, no, it just didn't have enough. Yeah, it just didn't have enough. And yeah, and right now you can see that it's just a perfect fit. Well, perfect-ish. Because it's on like... Because I'm specifically doing it at such an awkward angle, I would need to add in even more subdivisions, I think. But it's a really good fit, and on any... Yeah, and there we go, and it just fits perfectly. So you can set up like as a separate file, maybe, because I'm assuming all the previous images are to... But yeah, project on view basically. So at the very end, right when you're setting up, just do project on view on the last frame, and the video will be cut out in a weird way. It will be cut off like on the top and the bottom, but the transition will look really nice. You can't have hot dogs without buns. It's always one or the other. Yes, that's why it would look really weird. Hold on, there it is. That's why if this video was right here, it would look really, really weird. But at the very end, it won't matter. Simply because it will look weird in this moment, right as it's turning on. But I don't think it will matter because it's going to only be there for 2 seconds. And then it's going to be a perfect transition. And I think that the perfect transition will make up for it looking weird. At least that's how I usually done the seamless transitions. Or alternatively, you could do the make it trick, which would work here, but it would change up the style a bit, which is the one in which I just add in hold on. It's the one in which I just add in a transparent plane into somewhere and just copy the animation of the camera, which is the one I feel like it would change up the style a bit much there, but it is the one I have used in the big math video. Let me find it. At the very end. Yes. Oh, this one. Except the square could be in the screen. Yeah, and so those are actually every single one of them is a different animation, is just with the same camera movement. So let me open up the file. I don't think I was streaming how I was making that video back then. So this might genuinely be behind the scenes. I got so nerd out on Blender. It's very rare for me that I actually have something I can give feedback on. Useful feedback is important. But in this case, is it this one? No, it's outro intro. There we go. You can see I have 11 different files, and every single one of them is just different parts of the animation, where it's a single continuous camera movement. I just copied the camera movement over every single file. Oh, I just... what not visible in the first frame? I mean, right here. Which part? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, right. Yes. At the very beginning, it just scaled 0, 0, and then just growing. Yeah, that could also work inside of the A. It's always nice because you can, because planes because these planes obey the the samples basically. So if you add an object around it, like a cylinder, there we go. If you put the cylinder into the plane, like the transparency will be only on the side. So if you add in inside of the letter A, then it really will be inside the letter A, and it always looks really nice. No, other than that, is just really, really good, I have to say. I'm back. Why is making laughing and talking to himself like he's crazy? That retroactivity, is that even a question at this point? I mean, that's just called a make it live stream. Okay, Stetsus, I'm so sorry. I got a bit distracted with. I mean, you. Hold on, Stetsus. Stets, be that you. Because the parts you have sent are private. And also, I would not recommend spending all of your life savings on a machine. The thing is, I really often talked about buying a new computer, and I might in a couple of months, but people usually overestimate how much computing power they need. It's from my experience at the very least. I upgraded my PC twice, and I have not had problems since. Like, yeah, it would speed up some of my renders, but at this point, I think a bigger bottleneck is me scripting the videos than me rendering them. There's no comments. He's just imagining it all. I'm just in a padded room, just sitting in myself, talking about charity checkups. No, I just it's there's this theory that apparently I'm schizophrenic because I talk to myself, even though I'm in the room with like 7 people. So right now, just walking around me, it's just I don't know. Are we muted? I don't think so. Wait, say something. They're on OBS. I can show you. On OBS, you do spike up. Say something. You can see it's going up. What's going on?
I'm gonna mute.
How about now?
I was wondering if that's why people were saying in the chat that you're talking to yourself. Because what if you can't just hear the other guests? So it would sound like we're saying in the chat you're talking to yourself.
No, that's just called a make it live stream. Okay, Stetsus. Hold on, I'm checking. Stets, you have man couple of it's twice, but was the mute. Just imagine. I'm checking myself.
Checking.
I don't think you were. Yeah, I think you yeah, I genuinely think you weren't there. But what happened? You were. I don't. Mickey was talking for nothing for a solid 10 minutes. Retroactivity, to be fair, it's not the first time. However, why did that happen? I'm so confused. Because you could clearly see that the desktop was spiking up, as you were saying. But
yeah, that's interesting.
Magic.
Maybe it's
computers are witchcraft anyway. Computers are just witchcraft. They really are. It's funny because I'm gonna make a video on computers. So think about them. Oh, one thing would be fun. I do plan on making a video about computers where I really want to make a part of it in Auction Not Included, which is a game. It's a game, but it has really good logic. So it has AND gates, OR gates, it has like buffers, a lot of fun components. And I just want to make a calculator in it just to show everyone how just really simple components can translate to actual logic. Because that's the biggest issue with every single field of science has this one moment where there's one barrier that stops most people from grasping it. Like in mathematics, it is the simplicity of the logic or the generality of the logic usually stops everyone. In physics, it's the difference between things that are intuitive and things that actually happen due to experiments. and in computer science, the scaling up. Do you think, Mega, do you think is a gamma? Do you think gamma is rational or irrational? Gamma, is that the Euler's mass something constant? I don't remember the other guy. No one ever remembers the other guy. I put the C again. Hold on, let me check it then. Ah. Damn it, Okay, today... No, this part is still private. It's the right link. Okay. Well then, everyone, half an hour in. Boy, we're making good time. We're making good time. That's usually when I get around to a live stream that's not broken. Half an hour, it's good time. Could be worse.
Yeah, that's a good intro.
Yeah, exactly.
Good length for an intro.
So hi there, Tefta. I'm so glad you just joined in. Wow, what a surprise.
Yeah.
And now we just repeat.
I won't bug you for too long.
And now we repeat everything we've said up to this point, because the audio was broken.
Oh yes.
They were playing calculator. Today we'll be scripting 2 videos. The open muscle video and the electricity video. 2 of them. Yes, everyone. Oh, one fun thing, Tefta. I've reached a point where YouTube is sustainable at this point. I've done the math.
That is...
If I take the Patreon income, and if I make one video at least every 5 days, which is doable, then I am earning enough to pay off my apartment, to pay off the utilities, and to pay off the food and the expense like that. Which means...
That is awesome.
That is really awesome. It really is.
That is super cool.
That's why I'm actually finally getting to just making some longer videos, because the only reason why I make short videos is because, well, I need to, for the sake of not starving and so on. But finally, is Open Muscle...
That is so cool.
Oh, that's a lovely question. Is Open Muscle owned by Tefta? Because the wording is really tricky there, isn't it?
Yeah, because no, I don't own Open Muscle. I actually am in charge of the openmuscle.org domain, but Open Muscle is a open source project, and it's released open source and open hardware.
A really nice word.
It's like
in the English language
MIT
for
license, I think.
A really nice word in an English license. Damn it, I messed up on the second try. A really nice word in the English language for it is a founder. Tefta is the founder of Open Muscle.
There you go.
It really is. It just perfectly describes it, because open source things, no one truly owns them. You do have people with different rights to them. So on some open source things, not everyone can edit them, obviously. So ownership is a bit tricky there, but there is a founder, like Linus Torvalds and so on and so forth. And in this case, Tefta is the founder of Open Muscle, along with being the person who has made it all so far.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. It's weird because it's fun to do projects where it's like you find a niche, and then I accidentally found myself answering a lot of questions when I'm like not qualified to answer them. So I'm like, oh, I better study harder, since a lot of people are asking me questions about prosthetic machine learning.
Oh, I can relate. I can relate. The main thing that pushed me to know as much as I do now is because people assume that I know as much as I do now, and
you're the go-to guy.
Yeah, and that's a big pickle for me. So
I need help with this chemistry physics thing. Explain it to me.
And then I have to actually explain it, and I can't just it's always awful. The best thing you can do, the best sign that you're scientific, the best one. If anyone here is trying to become a scientist in the future, the best way to tell if you have a scientific mindset is how easy does it come for you to say I don't know. If you can easily say I don't know, that means you have a scientific mindset. Because the biggest issue, at least in my opinion, the one that I have found by interacting with people, the biggest issue is when people can't say I don't know and just have to pretend that they know. So, and in this case, I'm
in trouble.
And a big deal for me is I'm trying to avoid the mindset of rules for thee, not for me. So I need to apply that rule to myself, which means I either have to not be scientific, or I have to say, I don't know. And at some point after saying, I don't know 300 times in a row, I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to know. And then I open LibreText and then I study the topic and then I just help other people with what are acids or naming conventions of organic molecules or, I don't know, benzene. I really like benzene.
So what's really cool is after I made this last interview, I learned about quantization of models, which just makes sense in computer science. So you can take a model, let's say that's using a 32-bit float, and maybe you just change all of the weights from 32-bit to 8-bit. But you do that when you train it. So you train it with a lower bit for each of the weights.
Wait, so
and it can,
when you
you can
quantize
make
the
a more
model,
simplistic version.
do you
Yeah.
retrain it completely or do you use the trained
Yeah,
model?
you retrain it. Usually, what I've been learning is that you usually retrain it. You want to retrain it at the same bit that you trained it at. And there's some tricks for like the activation functions too that you can do. But anyways, long story short, it's interesting that you can turn like a 32-bit machine learning model into like an 8-bit one. And you can try to still get close to a decent accuracy. But it falls into the same mathematical rules of compression, because essentially you're just applying compression techniques, but just in the way that you're training.
I love how my first instinct was like, oh, well, it's simple. You just change from 32 bits to 8 bits. Like, you can do that with floating points. It's pretty easy. But then the immediate second instinct was, wait a minute, that minor loss of information, which normally we as programmers wouldn't care about, because normally when you switch from 32 bits to 8 bits in floating points, the differences are slight enough so you don't actually care about it. But the whole point of machine learning is the chaos of it all, which is not figurative chaos, literal chaos, where you want a very small difference to lead to a wildly different result. So a difference of, I don't know, 3 letters in the question should create 2 completely different answers. And so in that case, I suppose you can't just scale it down, because if you scale it down, you lose a little bit of information, which, due to the chaos of the neural network, just leads to a wildly different network. So that is actually... Yeah, the first instinct completely threw me off.
But I think it'd be kind of fun to just do like a low bit machine learning on like even a diode and like a voltage detector. You know what I mean? Because a diode can actually read light, right? So all you got to do is plug it in as a sensor. And so but anyways, you could like do the thing that you were talking about in one of your videos where you're detecting when the light is turned on and off, but that instead would just be a machine learning model. So something that sits by the window and tries to detect when it's nighttime.
That is one thing which is really curious. I'm basically creating hardware neural networks. I do believe that will be the future, because I mean simply because software neural networks would be much slower, much more efficient. So if that was a way
and I think the first, well, technically the first machine learning applications did use like hardware. I think they were storing voltage in some mechanism like capacitors or something. I can't remember, in a matrix. But anyways, long story short, it's so cool because technically you could like machine a block of glass to encode an entire large language model such that you would modulate, like a voice into a laser, and then laser would shoot through the glass and the physical properties would run the calculations of the model, and then the output laser would have a modulated voice.
Because
that literally
that would
is
be
in the realm of possibility.
That would be instantaneous neural network, which would make it, pun intended, just maddeningly quick. But I do believe that the biggest
you could
problem...
have a magical cube that would talk back to you.
Oh, actually,
like literally.
Yeah, I mean that would be just incredible. The biggest, what's even cooler in my opinion, is the fact that the biggest issue to creating that kind of thing is how would you teach that neural network? Because you obviously, what you would actually want is you want some kind of mechanism that not only, you shoot a laser at it, for example, and you get a voice on the other side. Not only that, but at the same time you want it to learn in a similar way, because you don't want to simulate it and then build a cube based on that. That would be crazy lot of effort. And the interesting consequence of that is that if that problem is solved, if you can actually like teach matter for the lack of a better word, then not only would you have a cube that basically talks to you, but at the same time, that cube would get smarter at the speed of whatever interaction you've used, which would be insanity. I don't know, learning just hundreds of lifetimes in a matter of a second. It's madness.
Yeah. Well, the benefit of
magical
glass
cube, I do have to say.
In our current large language models is that they're static. So yeah, that would be difficult. But you could, at that point, you just use like what, computronium? I think that's what they call it.
I really like
which is
the,
like.
yeah, but to carry on.
I think computronium or computonium, I can't remember how to pronounce it. It's like pure processing power of like matter. If you like turn it into just
most efficient, basically.
Yeah.
I do want to say
I heard someone use that word.
I love the aesthetic. It's only been used in Warhammer. Actually, that's the only one I remember. But it's the aesthetic of post-advanced societies, where you have a really advanced society, and then something happens where all of the technology is still there, but no one knows how to use it. And I just love that kind of aesthetic of, just hyper-advanced society where you have a crystal ball telling you the future. And, everyone thinks it's magic. Everyone thinks it's wizardry. When in reality, it's just an AI. Hyper-efficient AI, which takes in the light from its surroundings and just produces, and just refracts in different ways to produce an image of the future. And that's not, it's not magic or anything. It's just an AI there. Everyone thinking it's just a magical crystal ball. Machine learning
That's
on
so awesome.
Hackaday. Machine learning on glass.
Yeah.
This requires no power. That's wild. That is insane.
Yeah. But this is the insane application of AI, is that you can bake a model, because all models currently used are static. They don't, in order to retrain them, it takes a lot of processing power. So literally you could create machine learning things on glass for optics that literally process, which is crazy.
Never was a verify input images. That's wild. That is really, really wild. This is basically the first step of creating. I just want to say, first of all, it was written by A.I. Williams, but that's a different thing. But this is the first step. I want my crystal ball AI. It would be possible.
It is, yes.
I suppose teaching a crystal ball AI would be quite difficult, since you would need to evaluate what it's giving you in relation to like images from the future, which not quite sure how you would go about obtaining those. But that's a solvable problem, certainly.
Oh yeah, it's solvable.
Usefulness.
Just what? Spin around a black hole.
Exactly. Being on test thing, wondering if I was gonna get hacked at seeing neural networks. It's fine. It's Hackaday. I know that the name is rough. It's not for getting hacked. My only motivation for driving forward the human race is the creation of funny wizards. We're already there. At this point, it's not about creation of funny wizards. At this point, it's about advancement of funny wizards. I would just like to mention, I would appreciate for a second that, casting fireballs or casting lightning strikes or stuff like these aren't like fantasy at this point. They're not even extraordinary. Creating a Tesla coil is something you can do as a fun project for like a month. It's we're at this point, we're not creating wizards, we're creating beyond wizards. Technology is awesome. I really like it.
It is. I think so.
Create Crystal Boy AI only for it to reply to every question of yours with 42.
I was trying to find the link to, somebody made like a giant, it wasn't a cube, but there was these 3 motors, but it was a mechanical neural network. So they embedded the motors were like had springs on them, or, sorry, screws on the ends. So they would like screw in this joint, and based off of where they're screwed, some kind of mechanical property propagated the inference. But a lot of people, yeah, that was like a year and a half ago. I just can't find the article.
I do have to say that in a way, mechanical AIs do make a little bit more sense than software ones, simply because with mechanical you can have purely analog. You can have like the
pure analog. It's not a 32-bit float. It's an infinite float. It depends on the ADC that you use to read it. So it's the resolution is as high as you decide to read it. So you're probably just limited by throughput. But if it's purely mechanical, never mind. Then you don't have any of those things. Then you just have the probably the different properties of the materials used, because they're probably going to absorb the information. So how do you efficiently propagate the energy? Because friction in a mechanical system is going to be your worst nightmare.
I mean, there are a way to do it with, I suppose, okay, definitely light is the end game, as always. I love it. Yeah. Whenever you read about any kind of technology, the more you think about the future, light is always the end game, because it's just perfect for everything.
Yeah. Terahertz frequencies.
Yeah, exactly. So I am curious if there will be something with chemistry. I would need to ask. Flame would be perfect here to join in and ask about that. Once again, I'm not the guy to ask about this. I just don't know about this, but I feel like a great thing for it would be... Here's the thing. When you have chemical molecules, there's going to be an oversimplified explanation, simply because I don't want anyone to clip this, send to Flame, and then for Flame to tell me that I'm actually straight up wrong. So I'm going to be very careful and say this is oversimplified and might be wrong in some regards. But basically...
Just started the recording.
But basically, when you have an electron, right, then it exists in different energy states. And you can excite it up into another state which has more energy, and then the electron really doesn't want that energy, doesn't want that extra energy, it wants to get rid of it, so then the electron just goes down to its original state. And the thing is, when you excite that electron that way, really often it emits a photon. Phosphorescence, fluorescence, when all of that stuff happens, that is above my pay grade. I'm not gonna get into it, because once again, no one clipped this and sent it to Flame. No one. I don't want to be made fun of. But basically, if I'm not mistaken, the more conjugated your system is, I do believe that was the name of it, or whatever aromatic compounds do. Basically, the more like spread out the electrons is, for the lack of a better word, the easier it is for the photons to emerge at different wavelengths. Let me just double check it myself. So, aromatic phosphorescence. And the thing there, fluorescence and phosphorescence, chemistry library text, that's good enough, I suppose. And the thing there is that if you're looking for some way to get the highest amount of precision with light, then having a really, really massive chemical molecule like this would probably be a good way to do it. Simply because at that point, it would be a matter of nanometers of distance. At that point, just the uncertainty principle could be a big... That could be like the limiting factor on precision, which is good. That's what you want. You want the physics to limit your precision, not the engineering to limit your precision. I think they do.
Yeah.
They was using redstones. Once again, I really am going on a lot of runs today. I don't know what's with me, but it's probably the caffeine.
Oh yeah, probably.
Probably discussion of quantum superposition when you say different energy states. Superposition isn't as interesting as people give it credit for. I don't think it's like... to this day, I don't quite understand what's so exciting about super. I mean, okay, there is one thing, which is the fact that you have the counterintuitive idea of, same thing can have different states at the same time, which is counterintuitive. But beyond that, there isn't really much to it. I would say it's mostly, if I'm not mistaken, it's mostly there for the multiple solutions to the Schrodinger's equation. You want the superposition. Oh, I think I haven't seen many equations beyond that.
I haven't seen much equations at all, but for quantum computers, it's interesting because I guess you have to calculate the quantum states in such a way, which is really weird. So it goes above my head often, but they always explain superposition poorly by saying it can be a 1, a 0, or both. But what's interesting is that
Yeah, that's the annoying thing with superposition.
Different paradigm.
Yeah, because with superposition, I with quantum mechanics in general, I've mostly done it through just the equations because I just been learning it I'm sorry, I'm getting PTSD. I'm getting PTSD right now. And so basically, the only place I can remember finding superposition, the only references, I can double check on it, but just LibreText, of course, boy, always use a source, is with the Schrodinger's equation when you have multiple solutions to it. And that translates really nicely then to the wave function. But once again, let me double check myself to make sure that I'm not making stuff up. Physics. At this point, I just have memorized which textbooks I use, which is Fowler. Right here, quantum mechanics, and then Fowler. Or Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick is also a good one. I think it was either one of these. Plane waves, it might have been plane waves. Oops, it might have not been plane waves. The for measurement particles probability given this result by A and B. Or maybe wait, it wasn't. Doesn't matter. I'm distracted. Yeah, once again, I'm going too deep. This is not important.
But yeah, you can only run straightforward calculations with just binary. But if you're using the quantum properties and letting the interactions between these quantum systems, then you get a level of complexity that is exponential, right? Exponential returns, because it'd be from
because it's
hard to have a direct analog. Like it's not 2 to the power of 2 as opposed to 3 to the power of 2, because of superposition. But that's where you need math, and that's not my strong suit.
Ternary computers go hard. It's powerful. Stetsus, thank you for the $1 to the Prevent Cancer Foundation.
That's awesome.
Hold on, let me add you. Oh, damn it! Now, I usually say at this point that the website is still broken, but it's not. It's not broken. I just have to set it up, which I'm probably going to either today or tomorrow. So, Stetsus, soon I won't have to add you manually through Google Docs. Hold on. Have you not donated before, or am I mad? Stetsus, have you not done? Okay. In that case, I'm stamped and I'm stamped. Okay. Stetzils, unless you'd like to call you something different. Pretzels. There we go. And today is the number. That's not. Whoops. I'm not dealing with numbers. It's 2nd of February. $1. There we go. Hi, the timing. Okay, that is not. That is a slight percentage, but it's still there. You are there. Add it to the pie. I hope at least. Did chart F20. Okay, yes. So you are added to the pie. There we go. Please review judgment. I could turn around number. Okay. Okay, I'm going to review your build, although I don't know much about builds. Ryzen 7 trees. Well, that's a chunky cooler. Oh my goodness gracious me. Oh, that's PSU cables cover. For a second, I thought that was a PSU and it spooked me. All right, 1200 watts. That's RTX 5090. Are you certain you need this, Stetsos? Listen, I'm not trying to be down here, you know, just bringing down the mood. But are you certain you need this? Because I have an RTX 3060 and I am a professional CGI artist, so are you certain you need a 5090? Yes, I play Baldur's Gate 6. Still, a 5090 with 32 gigabytes of video RAM, was it? I don't know, VRAM, I think. I don't remember, it's been a while since I did any of those. That's quite powerful. Baldur's Gate 6. Oh, yeah, I mean 3. Yeah, of course. No, don't worry. I also perceive time linearly like you humans. I mean, like the rest of us humans. Anyway. Tefta, a lot of people, by the way, think that I'm developing a bit of a god complex. Have you heard?
No, I have not heard.
Yeah, I mean, I consider that really weird because, I mean, like, to say that I have a god complex would assume that I'm not a god, which is, like, really weird thing to say. But whatever.
Yeah. I'm trying to be witty, but I'm not witty because I'm tired.
It's fine. It's absolutely fine.
A god complex. Well, who, you know, so you could have a universe in your head, I guess. Then you could be like god complex over that. Oh, but technically we are all gods because reality is defined by us.
One of my most I don't want to say controversial because it's not really controversial, but one of my weirder opinions is how really often people say that humanity has a god complex, and in my opinion, it's the opposite. In my opinion, humanity doesn't have a god complex enough. We are changing the planet on accident. It's not like we're trying to terraform the planet. We're doing it as a byproduct of just us doing normal human stuff. We need to realize that we're way more powerful than we imagine. That comes with a lot of responsibility.
It does.
4 monitors would be nice as well. I'll be honest, Tetsus. 5090 is mad. I thought about upgrading my PC, and if I'm going to upgrade to like a 4060 maybe, or something like that. Part of it is because even if I'm upgrading, I'm still trying to do it in the budget, but still, it's quite a lot. Also, 64.
4070 isn't bad. I mean, you can get a whole computer for less price than that RTX 5090. Like, because that's $2,300, $2,400.
Yeah, that's more than my machine, actually.
Yeah. I'm looking at these specs right here are on Amazon for $1,899. Well, $1,800.
Oh my goodness, it just hit me. My PC, but back when I bought it, right now it's going to be way cheaper. Back when I bought it, it was, what, $2,000? $1,500? In that range?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's a lot. I use, like, Stetsos, I'm not trying to bring down your bill or anything. I'm just saying that if you're going to spend, as you have described it, your life savings, may I suggest that you you save up some, and maybe you don't need the 5090 because that's a lot.
Yeah, and especially even if you're gonna do AI stuff, I would actually I'd get like a 4060 and then or a 4070 Ti and then
there
the rest of
also
the money in the RAM, get like 64 gigs of RAM.
wasn't there a controversy around 5090 as well, where basically
Yeah, that it was
Nvidia,
only like 20% increase
yeah,
from the 4080.
yeah, where
But they had the stupid AI
that's the one.
they lower the resolution and they increase it. So if you look at that, it's able to do AI rendering. But what NVIDIA released, and I was there at CES, they actually literally have ongoing computers training their AI upscaler pretty much like 24/7, just so that way they can have better perceived graphics at the end.
I don't.
So I bet you they're running all these video games and literally they're just doing like some kind of weird active compression type thing technically.
I mean, I get kind of the reasoning for it. Like, in the end, AI could be quicker, but it seems to kind of go against the whole point of computers, which is we want them to compute stuff for us, the exact values, because we don't care for computing themselves, and it just it. Like, on one hand, I understand the idea, since when it comes to graphics, you most of the time don't care about the exact numbers, right? Like, if the pixel varies by a slight shade, you're not even going to notice. But it's really, really weird for hardware. I do believe that the whole point of hardware is for us to know the hardware specifications, not the... Unless they're going to implement the AI somehow on the hardware, but I kind of doubt that.
Yeah, no, but essentially what they're doing, it's like, hey, let's run all these video games output 4K, and let's just give you a video playback of what it would be like if you played that game. We rendered it for you in our servers, so just watch this video of you playing the game, and yeah. You don't have to press any buttons. You don't even have to plug in your keyboard. You know? But what's interesting, though, about NVIDIA is the whole DeepSeek thing came out. And it's interesting because they, like, literally utilize the hardware from almost a binary level just so that they could squeeze out every drop of computational power, as opposed to using the drivers, I think, that came with the graphics cards.
If I'm not mistaken, wasn't DeepSeek also, like, not made on NVIDIA's anything at all? Because that's it.
I think they were actually, but I think it somehow didn't bypass the trade embargo or whatever. But what they did is they straight up like almost brute forced it with binary code, which is insane. The level of detail they went to just to squeeze out all the computational power of the machines they had.
That's an incredible task. Where even with our current technology, just massively powerful machines, we still need to just fight for every single drop to make sure it's there.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. They did it for what, 5.5 million, and supposedly they did like a distillation. So they took outputs from other AIs to train theirs. But yeah, that's crazy.
I do have to say that this is wild, because I remember the time, I'll assume you remember that too, when that kind of level of optimization was required for games. When
like
you were making games,
Nintendo 64.
On the very beginning, when you were making games, you needed to, first of all, base your entire game around hardware. That was the requirement, because back then that was a genuine restriction, just the hardware. But then once that passed, once computers became a bit more generalized, a bit more powerful, then it wasn't quite exactly that bad, but still everything needed to be optimized to the last drop to make sure that it even works smoothly in any way.
For example, Mario. The reason why Mario just looks the same but different colors is they just like shifted the colors on him.
Yeah, exactly.
For like, instead of having a new sprite, which they're using sprites, so like the one image that they loaded contained every texture of the whole game.
Yeah, exactly. And
and they just
basically,
did bit shifting.
yeah, and when that ended, when that period ended, the games all of a sudden started blowing up because you no longer had to be careful with what you made. You could just, I don't know, you want different options for 4K textures or HD textures? Why bother rescaling them? Just add both. Just add both kinds of textures onto the file, just store it on the drive. It's fine. The drives are big enough. And it's really funny to just in a matter of years go from that kind of mindset yeah, machines are so powerful, we can do anything with them, we can be careless, to AIs, and all of a sudden you need to get back to just optimizing it on the hardware level.
That's why a lot of people are using FPGAs, field programmable gate arrays, because I guess you can kind of bake in custom circuits that would run the type of calculations that you need. So, like a lot of FPGAs just got sold out when the AI market kind of spiked after ChatGPT came out. But it's interesting. So there's a lot of products that contain FPGAs inside of them because a lot of people are utilizing them for machine learning, which is interesting. That's the totality of my understanding on that.
Still,
it's so weird. It's weird that there's new hardware out like NPUs.
Oh, one thing, by the way.
Yeah.
Which is a bit unrelated, but I still feel like I would like to mention to you because it's kind of exclusively only to you I can mention. Remember my fear of AGI?
Yes.
I can't quite exactly put my finger on why, but ever since I have become a bit more pessimistic about when we'll get AGI. I don't know if it's exactly because of the progress that's been happening in AIs. It might be it. It might be a bunch of different things, but ever since I've been just like terrified of AGI coming any single day and destroying us all. For some reason, right now my estimate would be more like 30 years, maybe 40, until we actually get AGI. Simply because I just don't believe that the method of brute forcing it with the method of brute forcing it with text prediction, with image prediction, with prediction of any kind, I don't think that is going to work anymore. And I do believe that, I remember how you mentioned that you believe that for actual AGI to work, you need networks that can learn dynamically. That you don't need to train.
Like an online model.
Yeah, exactly. Not networks that you need to train, only networks that you only run. And running is both running and them training themselves. Like a human brain, which I would say that makes sense. If we're going to try to make AGI, I suppose we would like to base it on GI.
Well, it probably makes sense because it doesn't make sense to train a model for every query that you put into it because the question could be stupid or the output could be stupid. And it's possible if the AI, the actual weight or the size of the neurons and the number of layers are the same, it's actually going to it could be training it in the opposite direction. So you'd probably have a system like we have when we sleep that it would somehow self-analyze what was beneficial and what wasn't and train itself for a period every day. And then when I thought of that, I'm like, maybe that's why we sleep.
I mean, the sleep mystery is
actually... It could be a legit reason like why we sleep.
It has to be, because
that's
the
when
thing
our brains
is,
do that.
Our sleep is exclusively related to the nervous system. Exclusively. I don't think there's any other organ that gets any major benefits from sleep. Because the heart still has to be pumping, you still have to breathe. Like, all of the life functions that support your living still have to be on when you sleep. And it's almost exclusively for the nervous system, which, I mean, the margin is there for a reason. Neural networks that can't learn acquisitive intelligence. GPT is a very big system machine, doesn't... Okay, it is... I think that artificial intelligence is fine simply because the definition of intelligence is very tricky, and you have basically two kinds of intelligence definitions. First one is the psychological one, so typical psychology definition. Second one is more for scientific low level things rather than abstract things, which is efficiency at achieving a goal. That's kind of it. So basically, humans are very intelligent because if a human has a goal of, I don't know, picking up a glass or something, then a human can figure out that the human needs to lift their hands up, right, pick up the glass, manipulate it, and so on and so forth. And humans are also generally intelligent because they can achieve a general array of goals, not anything specific. So we're not made for picking up glasses, but we can do a bunch of stuff. My favorite one is, I do believe it's from Robert Miles, where even though we haven't evolved for this, we can build a car, we can drive a car, we can fly to space, or we can get a car, put it in a rocket, and then fire it to space. Like, evolution hasn't made us to achieve these things, but we can achieve them still because we're generally intelligent. And basically, and in that sense, calling AIs is fine. It is completely fine because their entire purpose is optimizing for a certain goal. So I would say that it's completely fine to call AIs because they are artificial intelligence. There is a certain need to exclude AIs from that definition, and a lot of people don't understand why, but the more I talk with people, the more I realize that need comes from the fact that we want to separate off things that have consciousness from things that don't have consciousness. Like, if something is conscious, we want to call it intelligent. If something is not conscious, we don't want to call it intelligent. But the pickle there is that we can't define consciousness. We have absolutely no clue what it is. Like, we all think we're conscious.
And it could be,
yeah, we all.
Well, and it could be like a rock is conscious.
Yeah, a star could be conscious. We have no idea. It's so that's the magnitude of it. I did steal that example from you. I do believe you were the one.
I love the complexity of the magnetic interaction.
Exactly.
Of
Yeah.
sun
It's
star. Yeah.
And the star. It's way more complex than the human brain. So it is possible that on average there's at least a couple of consciousnesses there. But the thing is, we have absolutely no idea what it is. We all think that we're conscious. But first of all, we have no idea to check if anyone else is conscious, because, I mean, how would you do it? We don't have it defined. And second of all, we think we're conscious. Does thinking we're conscious mean that we're actually conscious? Or, like, because that could be it, just simply because you can think you're conscious, that could be proof that you're conscious. But we don't even have a proof of that statement. We don't know if thinking that you're conscious actually means you're conscious. And so on and so forth. And because of that, there is no actual. It gets really tricky because the best definition I've ever come across is the intelligence is just effectiveness as achieving a certain goal. It has a downside, though, a major downside. It's too general. That's because if you're training an AI, right, to beat a certain game, and you're training it to achieve the highest score, then a really intelligent AI would just get the highest score, right? But if an AI doesn't get the highest score, only gets something like 97, that doesn't mean it's not intelligent. What it means is that it's perfectly intelligent for the goal of getting the score of 97. So if you want to create an AI that's getting a goal of 97, then you did it. You've achieved perfect intelligence. But it goes even further than that. It goes even further because if you have a rock, right? Just a plain old rock, a rock that you could find outside in the park or somewhere, that rock is a perfectly intelligent being with the purpose of being a rock. If its goal is to be a rock, then it's perfectly intelligent.
It nailed it.
It nailed it perfectly. There we go. I was looking for one. The hell, yeah.
It rocked that.
It's rocking at being a rock. It's just perfection. So that is the downside of the definition. But the upside is that
words themselves are abstractions, right? And they don't. Yeah. They're just representation. So, like, what's interesting is that, even there's a Nobel Prize winner that says that our minds actually are not optimized to give us the reality. And they don't give us reality. They just give us a version of it that is helpful for us. And so they prove that with like dots moving up and down with electric stimulus on the brain, while the dots were moving the opposite direction. So the person said that the dots were moving up when they're moving down. So therefore our brains literally make up reality as they go. Yeah. So there could exist an analog version. So words are almost like a quantization of an analog system, kind of like binary. And words are really crappy at defining something objectively. But so I wonder if there exists a language outside of words that might be the tool that we need to describe this.
I'm skeptical
And
of it
so
simply because
we're limited by words.
Simply because you do have the nature of existence. But okay, let's assume that things exist for a second. Just it seems obvious assumption,
reality.
but
So
let's
objective reality
yeah,
exists.
in some way.
A chair is a chair. You are different than me.
Oh, it's not even a chair is a chair. It's more like you have a elementary particle in the universe. There is just some kind of particle in the universe, or a black hole is in the universe. Just that kind of existence. Let's imagine it exists for us, or assume it exists rather. In that universe, I think the only, in fact, objective words that you can find, the only objective sentences would be just the matter itself and the interactions themselves, just the energy itself in that universe. Simply because for any way to transmit information, you not only need a way to transmit information, but you also need something to interpret that information. So if you see a binary number, that same binary number could be either read as an integer, a floating point, or a string, even though it's the same exact binary number, which means the information itself doesn't matter unless you've also specified an interpreter, which means that no matter what kind of language you imagine, not even with words or sounds, just what kind of language, way to transmitting information, you would also need to justify why it should be interpreted the way it's interpreted and why it shouldn't be interpreted in any other way. And that's why I do believe that when it comes to objective way to transmit information, the only way would be just the existence of the universe, simply because you do have a justification there, which is that things interact with each other. But once again, for that, you would need to assume that the universe exists, which is a whole other kind of worms, which you could get into if you want to. And then you could also argue over the nature of existence. What is my favorite question, which is one of my favorite questions of like the pondering kind, which is if you have a particle in our universe that interacts with nothing, does that particle exist? I really like asking people the question because it tells me a lot about the way they think about stuff. Because here's the thing. If you have a particle in our universe which interacts with nothing, then it's really tempting to say that it does exist, simply because I said that you have that particle. It is in our universe. But at the same time, if it doesn't interact with anything, you cannot measure it in any way. It has no impact on the universe as a whole. Absolutely no impact, because it interacts with nothing. Which means there is...
Well, it's just like, it's the same type of thing as distance doesn't exist if there's only one object in the universe. It doesn't matter if you have 20 spatial dimensions. It doesn't matter, because there's nothing to measure it against. Time essentially doesn't exist if there's only one object.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you have two objects, then distance makes sense because they can fly to each other or apart. Then you at least have one dimension that makes sense, or two, or whatever.
Or another question, which is, what if our universe has 4 spatial dimensions, 4 of them, but it's actually flat on one of them? So what if our universe is actually 4-dimensional in terms of spatial dimensions, but our universe is just flat on one of them? Like, what would be the difference between that universe and a 3-dimensional universe? And so, in that case, because if you have something perfectly flat, then you have not only no objects that you could use to get yourself onto that, different plane in the 4th dimension, if you will, but also you have no forces to get you there, no interactions, because everything is perfectly flat. And so, and that's kind of like, that's why I had to say, if you assume that the universe exists, because existence is already a tricky thing to define, a really tricky one.
Well, yeah, and in this case, we have to define it a second time. One, the universe exists. Okay, well then we have a particle in it that doesn't interact with others. Does it exist? Well, it's like, okay, so what's the definition of the universe existing? What's the definition of existence?
Exactly.
Right? So we have to define that in order to say whether or not it is that. So it's a question mark what existence is. Like, it's kind of funny. The earliest philosophical conversation I had with my older brother is when he looked up what is real in the dictionary. It's like, well, real is something that's true. Well, what's true? True is something that's actual. What's actual?
Yeah,
something
because
that's real.
Exactly.
It was just circular reasoning. It's like something is real if it's this other word too, but that word it necessitates. So
that's
it's
actually
like
that's actually the beauty of it. The beauty of it is that you cannot have information void. Timon right now said, if it doesn't interact with anything, I don't really care if it exists or not, because it sounds like philosophy. Which, I mean, I agree with Timon there, because here's the thing. As I mentioned, information is actually surprisingly irrelevant. What is relevant is the interpreter of information, which means that you cannot actually ever have a basis. You cannot actually ever define anything perfectly. They always have to be related to each other. If you define like a language and information medium, whatever, every single thing in that information medium has to be related to each other. So real is true, which is factual, which is so on and so forth, and in circles it goes. Simply because we have no way of defining what's real in relation to things outside of our language, because we don't have things outside of our language. The reason why we know what's real, why we know what's factual, is because we, in our interpreters, in our brains, already know that. Every single person already knows what real means. Even if they don't know that word, they know the concept of reality, of realness, of something being true and accurate. Every single person has that. And because of that, there is no need to define it. What's more, I would even argue it's impossible to define it in any other way, because once again, information itself doesn't matter.
Why do we... So what's kind of funny is because there has to be something that we know that is not real in order for us to know that something is real too. So we know that movies are not real in one sense. It's real that the cameras existed and they filmed those actors, but they're pretending. So we know that they're
imagination.
Lying. So we say we say it's not real in one capacity. But here's a dangerous. Then if you say, well, dreams, aren't real. Well, it's like, well, all of those things are real. There's almost no example of something that isn't real, because even those movie actors, real in what sense?
Exactly.
Like I'm watching the movie. The movie is real.
And that's why I always say that when it comes to stuff like, what is existence, what is reality, does a particle, and so on and so forth, I don't think any of those are philosophical questions. I think that thinking of them as philosophical is counterproductive, because if you ask the question of, if you have a particle which exists... if you have a particle in a universe which interacts with nothing, does it actually exist? If you treat it as a philosophical question, you have to assume that the question either has an answer or is worth asking for like an objective thing. But once again, information is irrelevant. Interpretation is everything. And because of that, we shouldn't think of these as philosophical questions. We should think of them as linguistic questions, because then that actually helps.
By that definition, AI is already AGI then, because you said there is nothing outside of words. So if I were to take that quote from you, I could apply that to large language models and say they are the pinnacle of AI or AGI.
Yes,
because by
that's
that
the
definition, they're operating within
the
same logic that we do.
We already have perfect AIs under that definition. However, AGI also defines a goal for our AIs. So artificial general intelligence requires that it will be intelligent over a wide variety of goals, which means that if you have a rock, it is perfectly intelligent at being a rock. However, a rock is not at all intelligent at riding a bike. Therefore, we can say that a rock could be perfectly intelligent at being a rock, but it has no AGI. It's no AGI simply because it's not intelligent over a general variety of goals. So with ChatGPT, for example, it is AI that's good at predicting text. It really is. But it's not really an AI that's good at, doing peer-reviewed research. It is really good at writing things which look like peer-reviewed research, but it's not really good at doing peer-reviewed research. Simply because, it wasn't trained for it. And so on and so forth. Dragons are real, to have that confirmed. In a sense, they are. That's why it's a linguistic question, because, once again, reality isn't quite reality.
It's not a linguistic question. This is where I'm arguing with you. Because words are inaccurate representations of that reality, if we believe. Let's just take, for example, that reality does exist. Words are always inadequate to define properly or explain properly all of the aspects of anything. Mm-hmm. So we can definitively say that words are inherently inaccurate and incomplete in their ability to describe things.
Yes.
But we also agree that we are limited entirely by words or thoughts, logos, which usually are kind of like swapped out. So I think the Greek word they use is logos a lot.
if we
But
if we say
so
that words and language in this case, if we define it more broadly, so not only in terms of what humans speak, but also what computers speak, what aliens speak, and so on and so forth, just very broadly for transmitting information, then I would say that everything is restricted. Not only us, not only humans, like no matter what language you have, it will always be imperfect.
that's why we have like uncertainty principles and things like that in science that
Yes,
we've come
actually,
to,
it's
and like the
quite
theory
similar.
of compression. Like there's a limit to how small we can compress information. It becomes less and less accurate. So I think those also have philosophical implications. But if you want to venture to learn more, I think you can do so outside of language. A lot of people
But
argue
that's
that
the tricky bit.
art is a type of science, right? It could be a type of social science. Like art is a communication form that conveys an idea beyond that of words. So that maybe in a million years will be more of a science. We might have so
But
cool
you know what's
AI
the
tools
tricky bit in
we
my
can
opinion?
analyze them better.
In my opinion, the tricky bit comes to the fact when you say real, then you don't have a single concept behind it. You have a lot of glued together half concepts. So I can say that dreams are real and dreams are not real. And both of those statements would be true. They would both be correct. Now,
Well,
if you were approaching it from a purely logical point of view, then you would say, hold on, that seems contradictory. How can dreams be real and not real? But both these can be correct because, once again, words are imperfect. And the word real doesn't represent a single concept. It represents a lot of glued together concepts. So dreams are not real in the sense that what happens in your dream doesn't actually impact reality. Like if I imagine a fire-breathing dragon, then that dragon is only in my head. So in that sense, they're not real, as in they cannot affect the magnitude of your dream cannot accurately have an accurate impact on the world. Doesn't matter how meaningful your dream is, it will have the same impact. So if
I think
in your
there's a
dream,
lot of arguments against that. Like a lot of people have inspirations for inventions from
yes,
dreams,
but that's
right?
what I'm
And
saying.
then a
That
lot of people have, not a lot, but some have, type of miscommunication with their body where they sleepwalk, right?
yeah,
Which
but that's what I'm
is like
saying. The
severely
magnitude
horrible,
is
very rare.
not proportional to the effect. So if I have a dream about the earth cracking in half, right? Like in my dream, that's a massive magnitude. The earth just broke together or broke apart.
But it
But
could,
in
but it
reality,
could
it
be
doesn't have
that
a massive impact.
you
However,
literally create an entire universe, right? So when you sleep, so there's no way to test against this.
yes,
You
but
could
right here,
actually be creating an
yeah,
entire
but
universe.
right here I'm saying that that's the concept that's reality that the word reality is supposed to represent that. So that's the concept, the concept of the fact that the concept of
But we don't know. But just it's possible, right? So it's in this hypothetical example that we're using, where reality is real. There's an objective reality that exists. You go to sleep. We don't know. It's possible that you are God, make it, and so you do create an entire universe when you dream, and it literally disappears when you wake up.
yes,
Like
but
an
I find,
entire physical, real
I mean,
universe.
it is possible,
That
but
is
I
plausible.
find dealing with possibilities worthless. I prefer dealing with plausibilities. And if it's plausible, that's a bit of a taller order because, well,
Well, I can say it's plausible because there's no way for you to measure against it. So
yeah, but if
what,
you really don't want to use that definition for something plausible, because there is a lot of
No,
things you can't measure against. For example,
Yeah.
it is plausible that the laws of physics, under that definition, it is plausible that the laws of physics are completely wrong, and you have just been made by some kind of five-dimensional aliens, which right now, just with a snap of your fingers, created your existence, and you will actually achieve godlike powers if you drink rat poison. Like, that would be plausible under that definition because you don't have a way to check for that. However, saying it's plausible is a bit risky because, I mean, in that way, you're saying it's plausible that if you drink rat poison, you get godlike powers. So
that's why I like the definitions like of coherence, correspondence, relativism, and pragmatism, because then you can just say pragmatism says that dreams are not real in the pragmatism theory of reality or truth, right? What you're defining is actually the pragmatic approach to truth. And so I would modify your statement to say that dreams in the truthfulness about reality in terms of the theory of pragmatism or the pragmatism approach to truth, that dreams are not real in that sense.
Yeah, but
But
my
when it
point
comes
is
to
in that
coherence theory,
in
you really are up shit's creek because there's no way for us to really tell.
that's a Upshit's Creek. I really like that. I know why. It just really stuck with me.
But yeah,
But
coherence, correspondence, and relativism all fight against that. So you really are only talking about one of the four major views of reality or truth.
I still just think that when it comes to these kind of questions, it is a linguistics problem rather than a philosophical one, simply because it's hard to have a discourse. Basically, the reason why I believe it should be thought of as more of a linguistic problem than a philosophical one is because, to me, it looks like you're trying to build a computer using a hammer. And so but you want to do something, extremely precise and difficult with a really, really imperfect tool. So I think that's a problem there, in my opinion. So in my opinion, if you have a hammer, you shouldn't try building a computer. You should try building another tool that would be better suited for this. And that's why I think the priority should be actually linguistics, to fix the imperfections in our language before we actually try to use that language to answer questions as difficult as these. In science, it is irrelevant that the words are imperfect, simply because we're looking for the best models to represent reality, which means that if our model is imperfect, then just change the words. It doesn't matter. We're looking for that's something that's easily verifiable. However, with philosophy, you've mentioned pragmatism and what other?
Coherence, correspondence.
Okay, pragmatism, coherence, correspondence. Like,
well,
you have no way to check which one is correct. What's more, I would even say that there isn't really a way to verify. Even if you had a way to check them, there would be no way to verify if that way would give you any reasonable answer. So this is basically an incredibly difficult challenge, something that's an incredibly difficult challenge, and incredibly outside. Like, it's a question that's way, way beyond us, and we're trying to answer those questions without even knowing how to write them down.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and so the point I was trying to make there is that when we say real, we use it to represent some concepts, but we don't even know if those concepts are correct or if we just made them up. So, for example, being alive. When we say that something is alive, is living real? Well, first of all, let's just even skip over the fact that I haven't defined real even. But just skipping over that.
And that's the one thing that you really do need to in order to answer the question. That's what is real. But that's where I think that adopting one of the four major theories helps you to frame it and think about it. So hypothetically, I can't think of a fifth one. Those four summate.
So the mathematical approach. That's the mathematical approach. So you assume something to be correct, and then you push it forward until you get some pushback. If you get pushback, if you get a contradiction, then you assume it to be false simply because it's contradictory in itself. And that way you don't have to measure the theories against each other, because that's obviously really difficult, because you would need to measure them in some sort of framework. Instead of that, you measure them within themselves and look for contradiction there. That's actually a pretty clever approach.
Yeah. And that's why relativism is interesting, because relativism is like everyone has their own truth. So let's just say if we took relativism to the max, we all interact and we collapse the wave functions of reality, and our thoughts actually manipulate reality. And because we all agree on it, things are real. That's like the only way that relativism would be able to describe our universe. Relativism is like mostly bunk, because relativism states that there is no absolute truth. But the word relativism itself is defining the objective truth.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? It's under the guise of relativism. So it's almost like an oxymoron when you start. So that's the one you have. Then pragmatism is what most people think of as reality. I think a chair is a chair because I always sit on it, and sometimes it breaks, and sometimes I buy them from stores. So for all practical purposes, it's pragmatic to just believe objective reality works, because in the entire experiment that I call my life. For every waking moment, things behave pretty predictably.
I think I have
And then
a nice way to.
correspondence is like science. So correspondence is like a whole heap of, or coherence actually is a whole bunch of correspondences truths. So that is like scientific materialism is like pretty well inside of the coherence theory of truth, which is made up of kind of a lot of correspondences. We have a theory and it corresponds with what we call reality.
I think I
But
have a.
those break down when it comes to the metaphysical.
I think I have a nice way to represent this. I know this is just my mind just being primed for my job, for the job I do. But so basically, you have 4 theories, correct? Pragmatism.
Yeah, four major ones.
Okay, 4 major ones. So basically, you cannot measure them against each other. So, for example, when you have pragmatism and I keep saying my mind keeps going to relativity, but that's not it, is it? It's
No, it's relativism.
relativism.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
I'm too much physics. I keep going back to relativity.
so
Relativism.
there's 2 isms. Pragmatism and relativism are the 2 isms in the 4.
Yes.
And
So when you have pragmatism or relativism, you can't measure them against each other to see which one will give you better answers, simply because you would first need to define what an answer is, which means that if you are measuring them both together, what you would need is some kind of
what's your framework?
hypersystem. Exactly. You would need some kind of other framework or the hypersystem, and then this won't actually tell you which one gives you a better answer. It will tell you which one gives you a better answer in that framework. Which means that which arrow is better is dependent on what shade of orange you use. So that's a problem. So obviously that way you can't actually say which one is correct, which one is wrong. However, I don't like that approach because that's basically how mathematics is done, which is that instead of measuring them against each other, you measured all of them inside
against themselves.
Yes.
And so you could almost give a value of each of the 4 to any question. So for that particle it exists in relativism. I mean, we could argue all day. That one's difficult. In pragmatism, no, we could almost like say for sure that particle does not exist, because the very nature of pragmatism, theory of reality, or pragmatism itself, is that it doesn't actually have a measurable or testable outcome that we see in our daily lives. It's not pragmatic for it to exist. Therefore, it doesn't exist.
Wouldn't pragmatism then? So yeah, this is the most the most science aligned, I would say, right?
Yeah, this is because I think about this question a lot, and then coherence and correspondence. Coherence is like the entire body of work of science, materialism, science. I'll put it that way, because once you start to get into metaphysics or some interesting things, technically, Western world almost always uses the coherence theory of reality. That's what most people mean when they mean it is real. Science. It's measurable, it's repeatable, things like that. And then correspondence is like a mini version of that. And these are my dumbed down versions. So correspondence is like something is real if it corresponds to reality. And correspondence and pragmatism, they have some overlap, and so do coherence. And you could actually argue that they all have overlap. That's why this framework is the framework I like to operate in when I'm looking at.
But there is one thing which I think is especially interesting, which is that, or one thing which I think we're not equipped to. I think we're asking these questions way too early, which is that what you have to consider is you have these 4 frameworks, right? But they're not actually in the void. They are within a greater system, a greater framework of your own mind.
And I have one of those. I have my own theory in there.
Yeah, but that's the thing. All of these are still within the framework of how your brain operates. Simply because
I know. Did I show you that slide? Remember the slide I showed you like 2 years ago or a year and a half ago?
Oh, you have shown me a lot of slides. You need to be more specific.
This
than
one
that.
is so like the possibilities of your existence and what you are is like, and it is you are the thing, you are a part of the thing, and there is no thing. That's the framework that I put this inside of. That's the outer framework for this, because we only exist within our own thoughts. So there are 3. So I created 3 potential realities.
But
so you are the thing. You're just literally
3 potential realities, but there could be more.
I think so. It is possible to
Infinitely escalating
it's
assumptions.
possible to perfectly separate an infinite series into a finite number, right?
But
There's a proof for that.
infinitely
So
escalating assumptions. You say that there are three possibilities, right? Now, let's say that you prove that there are three using logic in some way. You prove it using logic, right? But it's infinitely escalating assumptions. If you prove it using logic, you would then need to prove that logic is a viable way to prove it. That there's some kind of proof for logic. And if you prove that, then you would need to prove that this thing, and so on and so forth. And so that's why
but again,
you always need
but
the
you're
greatest
operating
framework.
but you're operating within one of the lower tiers of the coherence theory of reality in order to say those statements. So yeah, you have to believe that logic
that's another thing.
exists,
That's another thing, which is that
right?
in this case, even in this case,
Yeah.
it's not even that you need to prove that logic exists. Like the proof itself, like, do you actually need a proof? That's still a question, because you would need some kind of framework to tell you that you need a proof. You could have a framework which tells you don't need a proof. So it's infinitely escalating assumptions, basically. So you always need some base framework.
Yeah.
In this case, the base framework you will always reach is like the way you think, for the lack of a better word, which is that in your brain you have some, well, brain in quotes, we don't know if it's a brain, that's the whole point, but let's just assume for a second that reality exists. Let's assume that we all have a brain and we all exist. But even if we don't, it would still work, which is, fingers crossed it would work. Boy, thinking about this stuff is really rough when you can't make any assumptions. But at least you're trying to not make any assumptions.
This is a philosophical tool I use, right? So these four exist inside of I only know myself, kind of like, I think therefore I am, whatever, Descartes. So there's three possible. I use this as a tool and a framework to spool up a sandbox universe with these parameters, and I try to go down branches of thought, and that's how I try to view and rationalize reality or truth. And it's just a framework I use as a tool, but it is inherently flawed. Just like when I draw on a piece of paper, I'm not actually creating a table. I'm just drawing the schematics for it. But it's useful to actually then use as a map to then go ahead and build that table.
Thar just said,
as we're
I'm sorry for once again,
no,
but
go ahead.
Thar just said we're balls deep in philosophy stream, and Thar, you know my opinions on philosophy, so I don't actually want to consider it philosophy. As I already mentioned, the word has been a bit too vague over the years. I think a much more accurate word for it, a much better one, would be either meta-science or meta-thinking. Simply because right here, this is not quite reasoning, it's basically different ways you can think. Or is there a more general word for thinking? Different ways you can... I struggle to find a word that's general enough. But this is basically... Here's the thing. When we think, it's a very natural thing for us to do. Or at least we assume it's natural. So when you see 1 plus 1 equals 2 in your brain right away, it's easy. But that's a very natural way for us to think. That's the way our brains have been made to think. However, we don't know if that's the right way to think. What's more, we don't know if there is a right way to think, or we don't even know if the question of is there a right way to think, we don't even know if that question makes sense. We don't know if making sense is even a thing. We don't know if existence is even a thing, and so on and so forth. So that's why at some point it is always useful to just sit down and have a think about the way we think. This is basically how mathematics has been done. So basically, in mathematics, everyone wanted to separate it as much as you could from reality. So basically, in mathematics, we wanted to be independent from reality. Reblax told the quote, I don't know from whom, but it's a really great one, which is physicists try to discover the laws God made for our universe. Mathematicians try to discover laws that even God had to follow, which I think describes it as well as it can. But even then, it's worth to ask the question of, is mathematics correct? And the way it's done in mathematics is that you just keep going until you reach a contradiction. You don't measure it against anything else, against reality, against anything. You measure it only against itself. And in that way, that is, I think, the only way you could think about the ways of thinking. Once again, I say I think, not there is, because we have to account for the possibility that our thinking is completely wrong and so on and so forth. And that's why I would rather think of it as meta-thinking or meta-science, which is... meta-science would be a bit misleading simply because it applies more broadly than to just the concept of science. But meta-thinking sounds...
I like it. Well, you know what's funny is I like this quote. I have to get going, but it's theologians may quarrel, but mystics of the world speak the same language, by Meister Eckhart. It's kind of interesting, but yeah, I like metaphysics. Like, I'm interested in not just what we know, but I'm interested in what is beyond that. And my curiosity is not able to be sated easily. So I don't think I'll ever have any of the answers to the questions I have.
I think that's
and it
what's
becomes more complex.
I don't think it's
as I go
possible
along.
to have all the answers to the questions you ask. I think that there is a possibility, quite likely. Well, in science, we know that it's not only possibly quite likely, we know that it's true. But that's so. If you for a second enter the framework of science, then science will tell you that it is impossible for you to have all the answers to your question, simply because at the end you will have the question of, do I really have the answers to all the questions? You will always
is what was
have.
told to me true, or was I deceived the whole time? And with that, I will make an Irish exit.
All right. Well, I won't say goodbye because it's an Irish exit, but there is such a difference how Make It argues about philosophy of Teta versus Titan. Yes, there is. There is a lot. Simply because Tefta argues about it in a very, very much different way. Which is that Tefta... Here's the thing. As I already mentioned, my biggest issue with philosophy is that it's a nothing burger. It means everything and nothing. But with Tefta has zoned in on a specific kind. I really want to just make a word for it, because, or find one. I would rather make one, because, you know, I'm vain, but metacognition is a good one, but hold on. I had a word in my head just a second ago. Meta-reasoning. There, that's a lovely word for it. Meta-reasoning, which means that Tefta isn't trying to just, you know, think about all different things at the same time, calling it philosophy. It is actually a specific... It's funny because it's the most general as you can get in thinking, but it's still very, very specific in its field, which is the meta-reasoning. And I really like that. We are Make It's common dream. That implies that Make It is in a Lovecraftian horror. That was fun. That really was fun. I am going to call it Tefta. I hope you can forgive me, but what you do, I am not going to call it philosophy. I am too strong in my belief of the danger of calling it philosophy, but I am going to call it meta-reasoning from now on, because I think that describes it way, way more accurately. Reasoning about the way we reason. Or actually, not even the way we reason, only reasoning about reason itself. It is a nice thing to think about because of how general... I love generality. I'm a bit of a generalist myself, and this is the most general thing I can imagine. Not only reasoning about any specific application of reasoning about reason itself. I love it. I really do. Okay then, open muscle everyone. Let's get to it. Hour and a half into the stream. I'm on the second cup of coffee. That's good. Oh boy. Meta-reasoning sounds like a word for philosophy for apologists. No, my whole point is that philosophy in its subfields isn't bad, isn't always bad. Ethics is fine. Linguistics is really often called philosophy. Linguistics is also fine. My problem is when you start calling it philosophy, because it becomes too vague and you give too much weight to things which aren't quite as which people haven't put as much thought into, you know. It's once again, the simplest analogy I can think of is, it's one thing when you're getting medical advice from a doctor, okay, but someone on the internet giving you medical advice and calling themselves a doctor when they're not one, that's risky. So if medicine and the title of a doctor, so yeah, imagine it this way, imagine it if the title of a doctor, right, didn't require anything. If all of a sudden you could just apply online and just for some money get the title of a doctor. In that universe, if that happened, then doctor would not have quite as much weight to it, would it? Right now, getting an opinion from a doctor is a lot. That's impressive. Someone has a PhD, that's incredible. But if getting a doctor would just mean signing online, then yeah, linguistics aren't philosophy. Unless I misunderstand what linguistics is. But yeah. Is the word linguistics, yeah? Epistemology. I mean, there's a lot. The point is that you can see that existence, reason, knowledge, value, mind, and language, these are all wildly different things. Simply for the sake of the fact that knowledge, depending on how you approach it, may exist or not exist. And that's the whole pickle there. Value. Again, language, all of these things could exist or not exist. Too vague. I was saying you define something by circular reasoning with an axiom. No prove anything, back it up. Circular reasoning requires no assumptions or items. I mean, Gemma, you can have an... I guess you could have an axiom as a form of circular reasoning. Because that's still... Yeah, 1 + 1 is 2 because of axioms. That is the thing. Yeah, you do need axioms and stuff like that. Hardware. Think about language in a philosophical way, but linguistics think about it in a scientific way. Timon, you can do also both. That's the whole problem there. It's depending on your definition of philosophy, Timon, linguistics would either be always philosophy, sometimes philosophy, or never philosophy. And that's precisely the reason why I don't like the word philosophy, because it's depending on your definition. And that's how words become meaningless. It's when people define them for themselves in different ways. At the end of the day, words are a social construct. They're a social contract, I would say. When I say a bowl of cereal, you all know what a bowl of cereal is. Even though none of us could probably come up with a good definition for a bowl of cereal that's strict enough. We all have our own concept of a bowl of cereal. However, when I say philosophy, people have wildly different concepts of philosophy. Once again, my favorite example being Tyden and Tefta. Both really interested in philosophy, and yet one of them thinks that philosophy is science without evidence, and the other one thinks that philosophy requires evidence. That is two people interested in philosophy having contradictory views about it. And that's my, proof. Thanks, make it. Now I want a bowl of cereal at home, and I don't have cereal at home. Neither do I, Timon! Get in line! Gemma, you're thinking about it incorrectly. Well, incorrectly for mathematical purposes. Gemma, you just said that 1 is defined as 2 minus 1, and 2 is defined as 1 plus 1, but then you have to answer a question of what is a minus, what is a plus. And in this case, these are the axioms. What's more, you would need to define, I guess, real numbers, or at the very least sets, as in 1 and 2 are in Z. So yeah. Open muscle hardware. Well, I remember this. That was quite a while ago. But what we will have for hardware is, okay, we got 2 components. And the cells works. Grab the labeler in your hand. Make it one question. What are you working on? 2 videos. One about OpenMasu, which is the open source charity, you know, which is the open source prosthetics hardware and software, and electricity one about, you won't believe it, electricity. Plus and minus is something intuitive. Why do you need axioms for that? That's the whole point of an axiom, Gemma. Something intuitive, that's kind of an axiom. Axiom is just something that you don't have an underlying explanation for. That's an axiom, just like a base statement of logic. So when you say plus or minus, you need to assume that those work in some way. That's an axiom. So it being intuitive isn't correct simply because it's not because they're intuitive, it's because they're an axiom. Even because axiom doesn't define plus or minus properly, so even axiom is valid. There are some axioms that do define it. I don't remember which one, but in mathematics you do have plus and minus. This one was so good. I love it so much, even though I'm not a fan of any topic there. Timon, it sucked. You'll see with this one. This one will be hilarious, funny, and will explain everything. Timon, trust me. That just as someone who made that video, it could have been so much better. Oh yeah, and right here we're also... Okay, so I'm going to script the hardware segment for this, and then we're going to go back into the electricity one. Every single day I'll try to script one segment for the open muscle video. Time and trust the process. Exactly! In geometry there are 5 axioms. What a point is, what a line is. Yes. Well, and the properties, basically. 5th one, everyone hated for millennia. When is the computer science video coming? Soon, as well. I also will make it soon. Don't worry. Don't worry. I'll make it soon as well. It's just give me a second. Oh boy, it might actually be sooner than later. It might actually be in a week or in a week and a half. It really might be sooner than later. And wrap the cells around the arm. Simple. You press the buttons. That's it. With your hand. Muscles react in some way. Right here I'm going to have a 3D make it model, of course. Make one Q&A vid. I forgot about it. I did. I don't know, Timon, I don't know. I can try after the stream if you want me to. Just remind me after the stream. 1 week and a half week for a vid is really good. 1.5 week for a vid is really good. Oh no, revamp. I'm going to make separate videos in the meantime. Like, I have 2 more videos planned before I make the computer science one. It's just that the next video is going to be out in 3 days. So, 3 or 4 days. So yeah, it's gonna be a chemistry one. It's gonna be fun. Really fun. Making your keyboard click sound is amazing. I'm glad you like it because I'm personally don't. Oh, 750. We should also celebrate that probably. Hold on, give me a second. I need to go to the bathroom. Give me a second. I'll be right back. Wow, why do I find it so hard to breathe? Hear me out. Hear me out. What if I buy a plant? Okay? Hear me out. What if I buy a plant? That's it. That's the entire plan. What do you think about that? I would like all of yours honest opinion. What if I buy a plant? Because I think the reason why I'm having trouble breathing right now is that I simply haven't had any fresh air. The problem is, if I open the window like I did right now, then oh my goodness, it's fucking cold out there and I have no heating because that costs money. So what if, hear me out, I buy a plant, some kind of like little tree or something, and I plant it in a pot, and then we can get and then we can call it something. We can call him Henry the plant, and then we can get daily Henry updates about how Henry is doing. How about that? You have something else to talk to other than the mannequin voices in your head. I mean, yeah, I would tell him to grow better. That's a reference exclusively for time, and you're welcome. One plant will help you sadly. You need the window, but plant does help you. Depends. What's the best plant for making oxygen? Best house plants for making oxygen. Or a mango tree. I really want a mango tree for some reason. I've always wanted a mango tree. Plantophiles. My goodness. Boston fern. Snake plant. No. Peace lily. Oh, yeah, maybe. Weeping fig. Well, that's something. That's a maybe. Well, I could get that. I need a vid of you yelling at your plant. I need it. Timon, you know what? Just for you. I'm gonna use your Patreon money to buy myself a plant, and I'm gonna yell at it. Just for you. When do you buy plants? You don't order. I don't want to see it grow. I really do. I don't want just a big plant. I want to see it grow. I want to see it, just progress and all that stuff. We have mangoes. Damn, I'm so jealous. Want to see plant family. It was gonna be part of my daily routine. I'm just gonna wake up, get a cup of joe, just make myself some frozen veggies and yell at the plant to grow better. And that's gonna be it. You finally try and zoom into the mandible set until it's a line. Oh hell nah, Jake, so you up tripping. So far you spend my Patreon on money on me. I don't regret that decision. Yeah, after drinking 6 shots of espressos, yes, that's the mindset. I want a plant now. Am I going to hold on? You know what? Everyone, give me a second. I'm buying a plant. I'm doing the shopaholic thing where I just buy a plant online, or actually, not a plant. What's it called? A sapling? No, not a sapling. It's Ficus benjamina. Should I get the Ficus benjamina? What do y'all think? Should we get this? Should we get Ficus benjamina? Will that be our Henry? I don't want a small one, I want a big one. They don't sell. Does it come from? Hold on. There we go, 20 seats. Hell yeah. For free. For less than $1. That's great. Is it from a reputable store? Kinda looks like it. Go water the plant beer. Give it benzene, or at least vodka. I'm gonna set it on fire. Double the plants, double oxygen, double the fun. You're so goddamn right. I'm gonna need so many pots for this though. Do you just buy seeds of it, or I know nothing of plants. I don't know how to get these, honestly. It seems weird you can buy just... It's a bonsai? How does that... I know I would need to do some research before buying. Maggie, no plants need light, right? I just like assuming stuff, and I assume you don't get a lot of them photos. I have a big ass... Okay, here's the thing. Yes, I just uncovered the windows because I felt personally attacked. Thanks for asking. Here's the thing. I don't show my windows, okay? Because I don't want to get doxxed. But I have windows, have a lot of them, which makes actually filming in my apartment quite tricky. But I get light, a lot of it, in fact. Thanks for asking. I just like assuming stuff, though. I like that you committed to it. I just like assuming stuff. Bonsai actually hard to take care of. No, then that's not something you want, is it? I would just yell at my plant. I wouldn't actually do much for it. I mean, I'm gonna water it, give it some nutrients, but I would mostly just yell, yeah. I want a Henry. Hi, the Ramit. Happy birthday, Ramit. Make it, please never have kids. Why? What's the worst thing that could happen? To make it into giving me a wellness check about the lifestyle. Damn it, Simon! Oh, you tricked me again. I'll get you next time. You'll teach them to be drunk all the time and smoke every day, make it. Me? Come on. Also, make happy birthday. Thank you, Doug. Thank you, Doug, so much. Happy birthday to you too. No, revamp. I exclusively get the rights to call Timon Timon. These are my exclusive make it rights. I won't share them with anyone. This is mine. Yes, I run out of coffee and I'm making myself another cup. Also, I'm trying to move a bit, you know? I feel like maybe the reason why I'm having trouble breathing is because I haven't had enough movement. Hold on. I'm trying to do like... I'm moving, okay? It's unhealthy to be sitting in a chair for a whole day. I need to move a bit. Maybe try making tea next. I do have tea, a lot of it, but I also have coffee, kind of hard sell. I do have exclusive rights to call Timon Timon. That's just my right as a make it. There used to be a lot of us, you know, a lot of make it's. But then the great calamity happened. It don't matter. Okay, also make it, thank you to positive, making love the art. Ramit, I specifically asked Timon, as I was fucking making it, what would Timon like me to call him in that segment? And you know what he said? Positron. I will not be accused of hypocrisy when I did everything right. Well, I will be accused of it, but I will immediately just, you know... I like time how you refer to me as they. There's not many people know this. You know, a plank second I can never have. Yeah, it's quantized basically. Make it constant crashness or platform. Exactly. It's a rough lifestyle, you know. It certainly is. Silence. Let's measure them. But if we had some kind of band, a band with pressure sensors, then we could actually measure it. I forgot make it was by my bad make it. Wait, why did you... In relation to what? I just if you don't have pronouns you buy it, it goes they, them, it goes for everyone. I guess it's a safe assumption. I call everyone they regardless of their pronouns because I'm traumatized. I don't care what your pronouns are. I'm still gonna say they, them, because I have this fear. I would say irrational, but it's very irrational fear that I'm going to fuck up your pronouns. And in that case, it to me is just much safer to say they than it is to try and fuck up. So yeah, I have been traumatized once. I'm not getting traumatized again. One person a he, even though he was. No, I called one person a he, even though they were a they. And I just. That made the same mistake. If only we had some kind of hardware band that we could. Oh, would you look at that? Some kind of band with pressure sensors that we could. Oh, would you look at that? And so, yes, it is that simple. You have the buttons. Not trauma, because according to the definition, they didn't mind. So by imagining somebody traumatized yourself more than you traumatize them. Yeah, I know that. I don't know if they mind. It's just Stupendium is really fucking nice. I don't know. I really. The problem there, Timon, is not whom I've traumatized, is what could have happened. I don't know if you noticed, Timon, but most of the time when it comes to trauma, it's not about what has happened, it's about what could have happened. If you have a near-death experience, then by definition, you're not scared of, by definition, you're scared of something that could have happened, not something that actually happened. So this is the near-death experience kind of trauma. They make it E as a pronoun to refer to everyone, make it a universal pronoun for himself. I've tried that, Gemma, but apparently it's just another neo pronoun. Ah. You can only be a news helicopter. I've never had that response to that, actually. You can only be a news helicopter. How long have you been using GDocs? A long time. A really, really long time. Possibly before... I don't remember. You collab with CGP Grey. I wish. I wish you collabs with anyone, to be honest. Buttons. Buttons. And pressure sense. Get pressed. Your arm. Go. I'm not actually going to ask Tefta for actual data for this, because I think it's going to be fun. And fun thing here is that this is not a simple animation to visualize it. This is actually actual data that actually happens. I just think it'll be really, really cool. I'm pretty certain that changing the software slightly, because it will be a software change, changing the software slightly to just get the actually, I don't think you would even need to change it. Well, I guess you would need to change it to save it, but that would be basically the graphs that it has been showing, so yeah. Why am I having so much hard time breathing? Give me a second, I need to move. Damn it, these feeble lungs of mine. Fucking hell. I can't wait till I'll be able to actually replace my lungs with something artificial and stronger. All these puny mortal flesh and bones. Yuck. How do you live like this? We need to transcend our mortal human limits. Mathological number would probably go crazy, or just count the on zeta function. I would love that. Oh my goodness, can you imagine? Can you imagine me getting Grant here me getting free blue and brown here and absolutely not talking about mathematics, only trying my best to just get the conversation on some really weird tracks like, I don't know, the quantum mechanics or Minecraft or future of geopolitical events or something. Just 2 hours of free blue brown trying to talk about mathematics and me trying my best to throw him off. He's still saying hour, like we still believe him. How cute. What do you mean, Ta, my fellow human being who's a human like me? Because I am a human, my fellow human. We're humans. Let me have a drink of the hydrogens and water and oxygen, water as it's called. What a refreshing beverage that I just drank to that went straight into my body. It did, yeah, it certainly did. Gay into your body. That is true, Ta. That's true. Oh no, you mean like what? Oh yeah, right. I got what meant. It went straight into your body. By definition, if I can't say that. No, I wanted to, but fuck it. By definition, if there is some guy, then I cannot go straight into their body, can I? Make it. Tell us how to divide by 0. You are a god after all. Daptak, you have no idea how mortal you sound right now. Like, I don't mean to be that guy, but the sentence you just said, tell us how to divide by 0, that reeks of mortality. Like, listen, if you ever go to any like godlike beings conference with other deities, don't say that, because then everyone will know you're not actually omniscient and you're just gonna get made fun of a lot. What a silly question. Stop acting so mortal. I need to practice my rich laugh of the recording. And then I'm gonna tuck in something in there. And then it's going to be this and this. Cool. We need which finger moved, and we know the corresponding muscle movement. Do we connect? How we connect the two? Well, you see, ever find yourself having some kind of set of data, input data, correlating in a really complex way to the output data, then just use an AI. Hi Deitch, hi, welcome. Is it true you made over 2,000 videos? If you count shorts, then I think that could be close to 3,000. Depending on how many videos I have right now. Someone should make a shrine for Make It. I already have 3. I'm vain. What can I say? Mickey, I think the cops are there to get you. Oh yeah, right, you can hear that, I forgot. Don't mind them, they're just doing a raid. I gave them the wrong address. They won't even know. Mickey, what AI are you using for this? No AI. That's the theft as AI. That's the AI that Tefta made for OpenMasu. Oh, I should ask Tefta how he's doing it, if he's doing it classically or not. How the fuck do you have 790 videos in 1 year? Do I? Hold on. Do I have that many? Because I actually have more. I have way more. It's just that some of them are private. Oh, Zooey Mama. Okay, first of all, it's not 1 year. It's not 1 year. It's not as impressive as you think. Because it is not 1 year, it is 2 years. And when you realize that it's 2 years, then it becomes a lot less impressive because it becomes 790 divided by 743, I think. Which is a bit over 1 video a day. And like, that's not impressive because I stream every single day. So that's a -1. There we go. 0.06 video a day, which means 1 divided by 0.06. I think I did the math wrong because I have made way more videos. That's 1 video every 2 weeks. See your vein. Do you have vein enough to actually hang a drawing of yourself above your desk, like you said? If I actually, I would need to print that. I am vain and lazy, Timon. So that's rough. I'm vain and lazy. And also, I would need a more powerful picture, actually. I mean, that picture is really solid, but I wanted like a typical, stereotypical, dictator picture, Like, me riding a lion with a sword in my hand, like extreme abs, that kind of picture. Like a typical dictator above their desk kind of picture, That's what I'm looking for. Make it. If you're wondering how to make an AI, then you should check out the Brilliant, not sponsor of this message, Brilliant of amazing courses. If they give me money, should I reach out to them? How much do you think a Brilliant sponsorship is worth? God, this is gonna cost me weeks. Time, and don't do that. That drawing is gonna take way too much. And at the end, I don't even know if I'm gonna print it. I don't have a printer. I'm currently drawing you backflipping over a bear with a bottle of alcohol in your hand right now, so... I love you. That's exactly what I needed. That's like... Oh, that's what I needed in life. Yes. Just yes. That's just yes. Oh, hell yeah. Oh, your art is going to be included in the fun video, in the fun chemistry video. That's good. Post sketch in the art channel. Oh, hell yes. I need that in my life. I really do. I didn't realize how much I need that before you actually told me I need that. Don't tell me what to do. Alright, fine. Okay, so for this we're gonna need TFTA, unfortunately. So I'm glad I did that without TFTA, because for that we're gonna need TFTA. Electricity. Oh yeah, right. Fuck me. What we need here is, damn it. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. What we need here is LibreText. Materials science, actually. I think, will it be materials science? I don't know if it's gonna be materials science, actually. Physics or chemistry? Good question. This is gonna be rough, because what we want, I think it would be material science, but I don't know. Physics, I don't know, because material science is usually on the chemistry. Is it here or is it in physics? No, these are not what we're looking for. No. When did you get the idea to do this channel? A long time ago, really long time ago. Okay, it's there. Wait, did you? Hold on, let me see. I want to see. Holy fuck! the bear symbol. The bear. Oh hell yeah! Oh hell yeah! Oh, you better believe it! Hell yeah! Okay, I can turn this off. I'm gonna have to walk on the page. Hold on, memes, make it. Because so far this is, I only have your propaganda in my folder. So yeah, this would be a nice addition. Okay, nanomaterials. I don't think so, right? There'll be nanocrystals. Yes, quantum dots and nanoparticles. Not what we're looking for. Not nanometals, just conductivity. We sought the art based on the artist, of course, because of the credits. I want to make sure that it's credited. Oh yeah, and right here is the folder for. Yes, that is the folder for. So I won't forget at the end of the video who to, what art I have already. Okay. Yes, this one, this electrolyte, not, I don't think quite, but whatever. And then and then we just boundary ring conductivity. That seems like the one we're looking for. Right. I think that seems good. Okay. Yes, on track. We're trying to. Okay. Yes, we're trying to get into the electrons, how they enter metal, how they exit it. Yes. Atomic structure, molecular symmetry, group theory, molecular orbitals, solid state chemistry, I guess. But would you actually explain how electrons... I mean, this is kind of, yeah. Oh, Fermi level, oh, I remember those. But would you explain what I'm looking for, which is how these electrons enter and exit? Honestly, not sure if I want to take public credit for make it art. Timon, you gotta tell me now, because if not, by default I'm including it in the video. I don't know what to tell you. It's really good. Hold on, there's one thing which you are supposed to count included, but make it, of course. Yeah. I approve of this ship. I do. I'm really vain. Self-love, everyone. That's important in life. It's your Mona Lisa. It ain't gave it yourself self-love. Exactly. Also, the white maker's hand should be a bit lower. Yeah. Yeah, anyway. Electrons, right. So this will be useful, certainly. You know, this. In open mass, yeah, we're gonna leave that for Tefta. And we're getting into this. Hold on, electromagnetism, that would be for later. Yes, so right here, then we're going to have bands. There we go. And Make it, do you approve of an evil version of yourself looking over a small YouTube vid? How do you mean? I was daydreaming about killing myself, then being best friends and maybe dating myself, but then I went out and made friends. I would make it chose the other path though. I really did. I mean, what do you mean? What, my clones? They're not clones, officer. What do you mean illegal cloning? That's not it. Draw him pregnant is killing me. It really is. I would just like to mention that if someone draws me pregnant, I will not let it go. I will actually, just like with any other art, I will include it in the video. But not as a form of thank you, only as a form of punishment. Because at some point down the line, if you draw me pregnant, you will regret it. You will look back on your life choices and you'll be like, oh no, that was a mistake. And then you'll realize that you won't be able to delete that because it will be in my video forever. And I'll have it saved on my drive in case anyone forgets. So if you want to draw me pregnant, go for it. But that's your risk. It will come back up in a job interview. I'll make goddamn sure of that. No matter what job you interview for, I will, when you send out your CV, I will send out just a picture of what you drew. Do you want an evil version of yourself looking at a small YouTube of it? In what form, revamp? I don't quite understand that. Talking about him drawn pregnant was not something I think that would happen. Daptag, there are no limits with me. There is no line. There is no line here. Okay? Hi, David. Hi. You've missed absolutely nothing. Don't worry about it. How do electrons travel through a wire? Electrical engineering stack exchange. Sounds lovely. Because you, for no good reason at all, think you had feeling it positive. That's not what I mean. I mean like actual quantum mechanics. Okay, there we go. YouTube logo looking small, even maybe being big. I've been drawing like. Everyone can draw. Not everyone. I can't, Timon. I can't. Actually, every single time I try drawing, the neurons in my hand just instantly all die. and then when I stop drawing, they all just go back to life. So, yeah. I actually can't draw. It's a serious medical condition. Actually, this would be better left for... Yeah, we need to do bands and electromagnetism. Yeah, which means we need to do bands, then electromagnetism, then after electromagnetism, we can actually answering the question. Oh boy. It's so cute how he pretends to be human. What do you mean, sir? I am totally immortal, you know, completely. Make it. Why do you have to explain a lot of stuff before answering the question? It's because the answer depends right here on a mean velocity, and in order to explain the mean velocity, I need to explain the electromagnetism, and in order to explain, or actually not electromagnetism, only the physics, but in order to explain the physics, I need to explain the bands, because the physical quantities. Yeah. Translating about what is slideshow creators of we have reached peak entertainment. Ah. Y'all know what? I think this might be it for today. How long was this stream going for? Almost 3 hours. That's good length. That's good time. I'm gonna go because there's one video I need to make, which I haven't even started on, and I have to make it off stream, which is gonna be a Patreon only secret for a while. And I guess that's it. I also have a website to fix, which is a whole other kind of worms. Anyway, I suppose for now that'll be it. Thank you everyone so much for watching, and have a great day. Bye.